Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. The Bachelor's Grant Ellis and 27-year-old tech engineer and model Zoe McGrady home on the most recent show, and I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. This season, Grant has been accused of being too sweet to be on The Bachelor Season 29, as well as manipulating the contestants while having no intention of ultimately choosing them. Grant, 31, restricted his search to Zoe, Juliana Pasquarosa, a 28-year-old client services associate, and Lisha Gare, a 31-year-old venture capitalist, before whisking Zoe off to the Dominican Republic. Grant said it was difficult to send Zoe home, but he didn't explain why. Grant hasn't had a lot of chemistry with anyone since he sent Carolina Sophia home. I believe Carolina was the one person with whom Grant had a strong connection, but he was terrified of her shenanigans with the other women and opted to eliminate her just before hometown dates. Zoe and Grant exchanged pleasantries, but in my judgment, their relationship never progressed beyond that. I'm honestly surprised Zoe made it this far. Despite staying in the fantasy suite with Zoe, Grant thought his feelings for her weren't strong enough to choose her in the end. Zoe remained very guarded throughout the season. She created some drama by taking Grant away from the other women at inconvenient moments, but it felt like Zoe was doing it to make an impact on Grant, rather than actually wanting to spend more time with him and explore their relationship. Zoe's competitiveness grew over her Bachelor experience. Zoe stirred some feathers, whether she was defeating the other girls at basketball, attempting to ride a mechanical bull for the greatest length of time, or pulling the Bachelor's famed "Can I steal him for a second" move. She did not, however, demonstrate to Grant that she was capable of going deep with him. She wasn't as flamboyant as the other women, so she didn't cause a scene. Instead, she silently got through each week. It was just a matter of time till she had to return home. In fact, the only time I noticed fire in Zoe's eyes was when she was competing for something. She dismissed the other women's objections, claiming she was there to shoot her shot, not become friends with everyone. I believe Zoe lacked some of the warmth that Grant seeks. I'm not saying women should be warm, but I believe that's what Grant is seeking for in a companion. I don't blame Zoe for being guarded. It's difficult to be vulnerable with someone who is actively dating another woman. I wish Grant had declined the fantasy suite with Zoe, because sending her home after spending the night with her is just cruel. Zoe was obviously not as warm and friendly as the other women, and she failed to form lasting friendships while on the show. She came in hot, telling everyone that getting to know Grant was her top goal. Grant appeared to value Zoe, but as the show went, Zoe received less and less one-on-one time with him. She shared her concern about not spending as much time with Grant to Rachel Nance, a competitor from Joey Grazietti's season of The Bachelor, who traveled to the Dominican Republic to assist Zoe as she maneuvered her way to the bottom three. I believe Zoe was held back not only by a lack of one-on-one time with Grant, but also by a lack of chemistry between them. Zoe opened up to Grant about how her experience in the South with adopted white parents shaped who she is today, and Grant sounded receptive. However, later on, Grant blamed Zoe for the stall in his relationship, claiming she was not opening up enough to him. Honestly, Zoe, this guy isn't it, and you'd be better off without him. My hypothesis is that all of the other contestants were scared by Grant's relationship with Carolina and the way the show became centered around her. Many of them drew away from Grant since he clearly preferred Carolina, and Zoe, who was already guarded, became much more closed off to Grant. By the time he sent Carolina home, Zoe was trying to make up for lost time, but it was too little too late. Grant is now down to his final two, Juliana and Lisha, and he has no distractions. I agree with the critics that Grant has struggled this season. He was anxious to maintain his good guy image, so he didn't take a firm stand on the women, which caused some to be misled when he eliminated them. To be honest, I don't believe he has chemistry with any of the other finalists. While he spent the night in the show's famous fantasy suite with Juliana, I doubt he'll choose her over Lisha, who declined the decision right now. I'd say Grant will choose Lisha to be his fiancée because he's seen a tender side to her. I believe Grant recognizes Lisha's potential as a decent wife and mother, and he stated that he wished to find such a partner. Now, I don't think they'll marry, but I believe Lisha will win. I believe Grant will eventually spin the block on Carolina, which would be quite amusing. Grant and Carolina had the most chemistry all season. It popped off the screen. Grant had to send her home, and I believe he regrets it. Zoe managed to get by each week, but she was aware that she had the weakest connection with Grant. She publicly conveyed it to the other women as well as Grant, but it couldn't make up for all the time she wasted while Grant was busy with Carolina. Zoe couldn't have been surprised when she was sent home. The writing was on the wall, and Zoe's time was up. The pressure mounts as Grant meets with his family for advice. His mother's words echo in his mind. If you're unsure, it's okay to walk away. But walking away would mean admitting that this entire journey, months of emotional ups and downs, had been for nothing. He fears disappointing the women, the fans, and himself. His father, on the other hand, encourages him to trust his instincts. Love isn't always clear, he says. Sometimes you have to take a leap. As the final rose ceremony nears, Grant finds himself pacing in his room, reflecting on the moments that led him here. He replays conversations, re-examines feelings, and tries to separate genuine emotion from the pressure to propose. The night before the ceremony, he pens letters to each of the remaining women, pouring out his thoughts in hopes that writing them down will provide clarity. On the day of the final, Grant stands at the altar, waiting for each woman to arrive. He still doesn't know what he'll do. As Zoe steps out of the limo, beaming and confident, he feels a pang of guilt. Does she truly love him, or just love winning? When Dina arrives, composed yet hopeful, he wonders if he can truly offer her what she deserves. And then there's Rose, hesitant and vulnerable, who may already know his answer before he even speaks it. Grant Ellis' season of The Bachelor has been a whirlwind of drama, uncertainty, and self-discovery. As he takes a deep breath and prepares to deliver his final decision, the only question that remains is whether he will follow his heart or walk away entirely. The audience's frustration with Grant has only grown over time. Social media has been abuzz with criticism, with many calling for a return to a more decisive, engaging lead in future seasons. The Bachelor thrives on romance and drama, and Grant's reluctance to fully engage with the process has made for a lackluster experience. Regardless of how the season ends, it is clear that The Bachelor needs to rethink its selection process. A compelling lead requires both emotional depth and decisiveness, qualities that were largely absent this season. As we prepare for season 30, fans can only hope that the next Bachelor brings back the excitement that once defined the franchise. For now, Bachelor Nation must brace for what could be one of the most anticlimactic finals in the show's history. Whether Grant chooses Zoe, Alana, or no one at all, his journey will be remembered as a cautionary tale of what happens when a lead is too afraid to take the leap into love. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and do not miss any update.